What is up, guys? Joe Everest, the fence expert. Today's video is going to be a little bit different from videos in the past, and it's more geared towards someone who's considering getting into fence building as a profession. So I've been getting messages and seeing comments from folks considering starting fencing as a profession, but they're wanting to know pretty much the same thing. What should I do to set myself up for success and avoid some common pitfalls? So if that describes you, stay tuned. This video is custom made for you. You know, if you liked the video, if you found it helpful, it would mean the world to us if you'd give it a like. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. And remember to hit that notification bell so that YouTube notifies you each week when we have new content available. With that being said, let's dig into it. This is Joe Everest, the fence expert. My family's been perfecting their way of building fence for over 60 years, 3 generations. While there's more than one way to build a fence, I'm here to share with you our way. You know, before starting a fence company, I really think there's 5 steps to the process that you cannot skip. If you stick around to the end of the video, I'll also give you a bonus tip. The first step is one of the most important steps, and it's to pick a name. A lot of people rush through this step, but a name defines you, and it's going to define what you do and where you do it. Spend some time to get this step right. The most critical part of this step is to check with your Secretary of State's website. Now, most of them will have a business services section where you can actually search the business name that you're thinking of to make sure no businesses are currently using that name or a variation of that name. Getting this step exactly right will save you headaches in the future. Also, when choosing a name, make sure it accurately represents who you are, what you do, and where you do it. Too often I see fence companies that are way too dialed in. Say, for example, a company named Tulsa Fence, but they also service the metro area outside of Tulsa. That could lead to some confusion, but don't get too broad. In the same example, don't call yourself Oklahoma Fence when you only service one particular part of Oklahoma. Make your name clear. Make sure when someone reads it, they know exactly who you are, what you do, and where you do it. Now, the second step is equally important as the first, and sometimes they can be combined, and that is to consult a business lawyer. A business lawyer can do several things for you. First and foremost, they can organize your company in a way that makes sense for your individual situation and for the state or region that you live in. The lawyer can also reach out to the Secretary of State on your behalf and find out if the name that you've chosen is actually still available and register that name so that no one else can trade on the name that you've fallen in love with. All right, so you've picked a name and you've organized yourself. You filed that name with the Secretary of State. The next step has to be to find an insurance broker. It has to be to insure yourself on general liability, insure any vehicles that might be in the company's name, as well as insure yourself against workman's compensation claims. You want to make sure that if anything happens, that your business is covered and it won't affect you personally. Now, there's 2 schools of thought here. One is to find an independent insurance broker that will take your insurance package and shop it out to 2, 3, or 4 different insurance companies and find the one that best suits your needs. It best covers any sort of insurance exposure that you might have. The second school of thought is to find an in-house insurance agent. Now, it's a little bit different because the agent only serves that insurance company, but they know that insurance company very well. They know all the ins and outs. They know how to get you best covered within that one company. Now, to me, myself, I prefer to use an insurance broker. I like to shop the plan out to 2 or 3 different insurance companies without meeting with 2 or 3, 4 insurance agents. The broker does all that for me. But if you want to find an insurance agent, then by all means, I'm sure they'll take great care of you. All right, so your business has a name, it's organized, and it's insured. The next step is to find an accountant and bookkeeper. Now, a lot of times these 2 people can be the same. Your accountant can also be your bookkeeper. The important thing is to find a certified public accountant that is familiar with doing business in your industry. This can make all the difference in the world. You know, the alternative would be to use a general accountant, such as an H&R Block, for example. But I have to think that you would get much better results using an accountant that has industry-specific knowledge and experience. The 5th thing you're going to have to consider is location. Now, I get it. A lot of folks start out their fence business at their home. I mean, they're already there. There's no additional expense for having a location. But the sooner you can have a physical location, the better. It's going to do a couple things for you. One, it's going to give you an area to store your fencing materials. Often, you can buy fencing materials at a better price if you buy more of it. And I think you would quickly find your backyard, your garage, wherever you're storing your materials filling up pretty quickly if you're buying at truckload quantities. So it's going to give you the space you need. Also, it's going to give you a professional storefront to meet with your customers. Instead of inviting them over to your house, you'd be inviting them to your business. And a lot of customers are going to react more pleasantly to a business location than a home location. The third thing I think is most important, is it also gives you the ability at the end of the day to leave your work behind and go have personal time with your family. All too often, folks that run businesses out of their home have really hard time mixing that work-life balance. This would be one more positive step in the direction of really finding a nice balance for you and your family. All right, guys, you've made it to the end of the video. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. So as usual, I've got a bonus tip for you, and that is save your money. Now, when I say save your money, what I mean is take 12 months of your finances, figure out how much it costs to run your business for a year, and put that money into savings before you even take your first step. Now, I know it's going to delay your dream of owning a fence company for a little while, but it's going to give you money to fall back on if, say, we have a down economy or we face another pandemic where we're not able to work. It could mean the difference between your business going out of business and it prospering for generations to come. Do yourself and your future fencers a favor and have 12 months of savings in a savings account ready to go. All right, guys, I'm Joe Everest, the fence expert, reminding you that good fences make good neighbors. I'll see you guys next week.